Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, GWT family from all across the world. My name is Shan Singh, ambassador and shareholder with Global Wealth Trade, and it's my absolute honor and pleasure tonight to host this our weekly Sunday night webinar for you folks tonight. We have a very special call, as you can see. I was seeing the buzz over Facebook and the mass text messages, the mass emails, and the phone calls. I know the lines are starting to jam up here because, like myself, everybody around the GWT world is super excited for this call. We have the pleasure tonight of having a locker room talk with the original, the one and only forensic networker, of course, our GWT CEO and the founder of Global Wealth Trade, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou. So, folks, I'll tell you right now, I know we here at the Ottawa office, we have our pens and pads ready. So make sure you have your pens, pencils, extra pens and pencils. If you think you have enough paper, you know what, double it up right now. You don't want to miss a single thing on this call. You know, as being part of the LCG, the Leadership Council Group, it's very often we get to have these types of locker room talks with the CEO and founder, and I can tell you it's done amazing things for us and our business. So you know what, make sure you folks are paying attention tonight. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Now, to give you folks a little bit of background of the young man that's going to be taking us through the call here tonight, you know what, when I was starting to put this edification together, I literally came up with pages after pages of what I could say about our founder, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou. We all know he is the CEO of the company. He is the gentleman who founded it. He is the creator of the world's first ever free-flowing variable binary plan, which so generously pays us day after day, week after week. And, you know, he was able to create that because he is known as the top-rated MLM comp plan expert around the world. And we all know he's had over 25 years of experience in the domain of direct sales, and through that was able to become a self-made millionaire by the age of 24. And what's incredible, ladies and gentlemen, we always hear, you know what, if you ever wanted to make six figures and become a millionaire, chances are your best bet is you want to learn from someone who's done it themselves. Well, this young man, he's done it since the age of 24, but you know what, he's helped over a dozen other people become millionaires, helped countless numbers of others to achieve six-figure incomes and become, I don't know how many other people to become financially free, myself included. So, you know, a big thank you goes out to you, Ramin. You know, he is the author of The Forensic Networker, and you folks have all seen he was featured on the cover of the American Business Journal, you know, a CEO with a touch of class. He is an absolute superstar in the world of direct sales. He's always a superstar in my books. He is a mentor to us all. My absolute pleasure and honor to bring on our CEO and founder, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou. Sir, do we have you on the call?
Good evening, Sean. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear, sir. And you know what? I'm going to mute myself. I'm handing it over to you. I'm getting ready to take some notes. So, sir, the call is all yours.
Thank you so much, Sean, for your leadership. Thank you for that nice introduction. Thank you very much, Global Wealth Trade, Global Family, for attending this very, very important weekly task. It is something you must do. Sunday culture, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. You know, tonight earlier today, I was thinking about what am I going to talk about tonight, and that seems to become a common challenge for me to answer. It's a question I always have: what do I want to talk about when I go to a different city? When I'm invited to be on a call? In fact, sometimes I ask, what do you want me to talk about? Because one of the downside of having multiple encyclopedias in your mind, because I've been dissecting the industry for the past 25 years, I wasn't just hanging out with like some people. I was dissecting it. I was looking at what's wrong with the industry. How can we make it better? I've become a true student and looking for solutions of the industry. So when you've done that for 25 years, there's just too much information in your head. So tonight, you know, I planned actually to talk forensic. I wanted to take a chapter of Forensic Networker, something that we constantly get requests for, and to teach that. But I thought, you know, it would be much better served that, you know, I basically freelance it tonight. And so not do any training at all, and just have some a very serious locker room talk with our global family, much like we did on that Blue Ocean video. Because there's a few things I want to bring up that I think it's important. We have a surging business right now around the globe, lots of new superstars joining us, lots of rising stars, and of course, the process is the same. You know, it doesn't matter where in the world it is, the people are people everywhere. So it doesn't matter what country you're from, you go through the same processes. So I thought I'm going to cover some points tonight. The points not necessarily mean that you may be going through it, but if you're not, you will or know somebody that will. So I thought, you know what, go cover some basic points that gives you a proper start and a proper execution. So tonight I'll be all over the map because there's no set topic. I just sat down and put down some of the pointers that I think that are important, especially in the new markets, to make sure that all these great starts that we're having, as you know, we're setting records every single month. But when you have fast growth like that, we want to make sure that we keep up with the development part of it, because a lot of times you can build strictly on enthusiasm, and it happens a lot. But if you don't keep up with the training side of it, it becomes like a house of cards. It goes up quick and it comes down quick. We're known in the industry now, after 9 years, to be the company that actually has retention. We're known in the industry to have a company that actually has a very high activity ratio. Not the industry 6% out on the auto ship, we're sitting about a 50% IA ratio. We're looking at over 50% retention, not the industry 10%. So the reason why we have this, many reasons why we're astronomically better than the industry average according to the DSA averages, and one of them is the things that we're going to talk about tonight. So quick announcement, maybe Sean was going to cover it later. The most important call of the week, the most important call webinar of the week, especially for the brand new person who just launches the video, is the next 30 days action plan, and which is on Tuesday nights. Now, if I can't imagine this, but if you're on this call tonight, if you've never been on it, I want you to look at your upline the minute you see them, or send them a note tomorrow, or why have I not been on this? Because it is the most important webinar of the week and in your GWT career. So without it, you're not going to have a proper start. Doesn't matter how much success you're having because of the strength of the product and because of your enthusiasm, because of products and visual, so forth. You must be on that call. And we've had this for years, and I've updated it completely. And we're going to launch the updated version this Tuesday night. And I personally will teach it, just like I personally taught the original one a couple of years back. So you want to make sure that this Tuesday night, again, you get the notifications from our email blast anyways. It is in your back office. As soon as you log in on the left-hand side, you can click on it. So this Tuesday night, the latest updated next 30 days action plan is going to be on. I'm going to teach it. You want to make sure that you're on and everybody on your team are on this. So tonight, again, we talked about having some random topics that I believe will give you a fast start and a solid start. You know, it's one thing to have a fast start. I've seen that happen hundreds of times in my 25-year career. People that come in and have a very fast start. A solid start, however, means that it's got a solid foundation and it will last. So first I want you to understand what is our whole business of network marketing and direct sales, MLM business all about. There's two parts to it. The first part, again, I put it this way, and you can call it a different way. Get them in. First part is get them in. The second part is keep them in. In other words, you know, get them in is that you need some sort of prospecting campaign to launch VDMs, to have people to add it in your team as a luxury consultant. First part is get them in, which you need a prospecting campaign. The second part is keep them in, which you need a training and support campaign. And I think vast majority of the industry, they get the first part, get them in. They have, you know, in fact, some companies have brilliant prospecting campaigns, and they get tens of thousands of people, you know, shifting in. And of course, it's a mass entry, mass exit. Tens of thousands shift in, tens of thousands shift out. That's why the industry is suffering with a 10% retention. In other words, outside GWT, 90% of your team the next year is they're in another business, another company. So get them in, which you need a prospecting campaign. Keep them in, which you need training and support campaign. So quickly going over this, launching a prospecting campaign. Now in GWT, we have, one of the strengths that we have is that we have some tremendous, promotional tools. But all in all, when you first start, when you first launch your VDM, you have to come in with a list immediately. Now, everybody has a list. If you have, it might not be on paper yet, but you have one. You just have to sit down and write it. In the Forensic Networker book, I have some memory joggers. And we've had people come up with 125 names in about 15 minutes. So you need to come in with a list. Like in traditional business, you need an inventory. Say if you want to put up a grocery store or restaurant or something, you're going to need an inventory of products in order for you to start. If you open up a clothing store, you're going to need inventory of products in order for you to start. Indirect sales, MLM, your inventory is people. You must have a list. So come in with a list immediately. And if you don't have a big list yet, keep working on it. In a couple of weeks, you'll have hundreds of people using some type of memory jogger to get you started. Now, once you've got your list, and again, don't wait till you have a full list to start. Just, come out with, in Forensic, we talk about having a Hotshot 7 the minute you launch, the same night you launch, you have a Hotshot 7. Some people would have 20, 25. And then you'll start working on your warm 250 over the next 2-3 days. So this doesn't have to take 3 weeks. You can do it over the next 24 hours. And so you have to spend some time on your list. Once you have it, then you start what we call the blitz. Now, the blitz, I've taught all my top people in this company what the blitz is. Something I was doing when I was on the field as a soldier for 14 years. And to give you a little concept of the blitz, it's basically you'll decide if it's a 30 days or 60 days, and you come out, you hit the ground running really, really hard. The importance of the list comes in here because in order for your blitz to be effective, you must have a very strong list. Give you a little example. One of my targets was when I started at age 20, is that I wanted to retire at age 30. So when I hit 30, I actually did. I retired for about 10 months. I realized very quickly when you retire at age 30 that you get bored. And I started doing all kinds of things to get my time filled in because at 30 you get up in the morning and you really have to do things. So I started doing things like rollerblading. I even took ballroom dancing, believe it or not. I tried golfing. One of the things I did was get my pilot license. I went taking courses for that. And I learned something taking my pilot course. And that was that when a 747, that's the big plane, the double-decker, when a 747 goes, and you've all been on a plane, so you know what I'm talking about. When it goes to take off on the runway, you see first the plane comes to a stop before it takes off. And then you hear the turbines start to spool up. So you hear the engine rev up, and while the pilot has got his foot on the brake. And then he takes the foot off the brake, and he starts going, and he takes off. Now, while the 747 is that's the gaining heights, it would burn 870 gallons of fuel for every 1.5 seconds. 870 gallons of fuel every 1.5 seconds. But once it's at 30,000 feet or 35,000 feet, it only burns 72 gallons of fuel for every 1.5 seconds. So it goes from 870 gallons to 72 gallons once it's coasting at 30,000 feet. That's how your business is. When you come out, you want to come out very, very strong. Make a lot of calls. Show the plan to a lot of people. You send out the videos to a lot of people. You want to make sure that you come out very strong for a number of reasons. A, you want a fast start. B, you want to set the right culture in your team. So we call that the blitz. Now you can decide that if that blitz is 30 days or 60 days. And I go ahead and suggest to you that it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business, you should do a blitz every 3 months, every 6 months, at least once a year. You should do a 30 or 60-day blitz, where basically you get your list and you smile and dial and share every single day to get yourself in momentum. Now, with us being an online business, it's much easier than the old days when I was on the field because it was really much more of a belly-to-belly business because we had no internet back then. The product was, was a product that people had to try, required lots of explanation. It wasn't visual. So again, in order for you to have a strong blitz, you need to have a list, because if you don't have one, then you're not going to have a proper blitz. So you want to make sure that you have a strong list, you come in with a strong list, and you do the blitz for the first 30 or 60 days. And this is really fun to do as a group. You can get together with your My5, where your My5 is your 5 qualified uplines. It doesn't necessarily mean you're an enroller. It could be, but it doesn't mean that. So if your enroller is still new, keep looking up, keep going up. You'll find many very strong leaders within your upline, because this is a binary program. So pretty much all the millionaires of the company would end up at some point in your upline. So you want to make sure that you get to know them. So once you've got the blitz, you basically smile down and you share. And the introductory email, which we shared already, it was a couple of months ago. I shared it on the Forensic Networker Nation Facebook page. It's also in your back office. It's part of the forensic system, and that's a great way to start. And one thing, again, going back to the list, having a strong list is so important, because the reality is, and this is scientific, this is not, after 14 years of dissecting my own teams, the leadership in my teams and other leaders, it comes down to this. And this is scientific. This is not a feeling. This is not a guess or hunch. This is 14 years of dissecting the leaders and see how they get their checks up. At the end of the day, here's how it works out. For every dialings that you do, dialings basically, you have the number, you have the phone number, you call them. What you'll end up launching 2 or 3 VDMs. So for every 100, you get 2 or 3 that will launch with you. So what happened to the rest? Well, 75% of the dialings will not even be there. So already 75 is out. All of the 25 that will be there, about 10 of them will be in possession to actually take a look at your proposal. And out of that, 5 of them will actually make an appointment and meet with you and see a tour. And out of that, 2 or 3 will get in. So 100 gets you 2 or 3. So it shows you how important it is to have a strong list, because if your list is 5 people and then the law of averages will sit in, so if your list is 5 or 10 people, you talk to them, and out of that, you're going to have 2 or 3 actually you get a hold of. Out of that, maybe 1 or 2 look at the plan. Out of that, you get nobody. All of a sudden, you think nobody you know is interested. Well, the reality is that this, like any other business, the law of averages will sit in. So you have to have a strong list. Now, if you don't have a strong list up front, you can keep working on it. And again, part of the forensic system and at the convention, we talk a lot about that. If you've got the Forensic Network book, I talk a lot about that in there, how to build that list. But very important that you understand, 100 dialings will get you 2 or 3. 40 gets you 1. So generally we say if you're part-time, you should have no problem having 40 dialings in 1 week. Again, scientific. We have it working on how many minutes it will take you to do that in forensic. But if you're part-time serious or full-time, you'll have no problem doing 100 dialings in a week, which basically adds up to about 2.3 hours a week of prospecting time. That's not 2 hours a week of talking to your 2 distributors. No. This is prospecting time. So that's number 1. You basically make sure you have a very strong list. You do the blitz. You can decide if the blitz is 30 days, 60 days, how often. If I was a leader on the field today, I'll have a blitz, every 3 months, every quarter, at least a team. Let's do a blitz every 3 months. Basically, we come up to the list on the first of the month, ready, go. And we'll have regular conference calls about the results and what we're getting. If you did that, you're going to find yourself in momentum very, very quickly and very, very fast. In absence of a business plan like this, what you'll find is that people kind of get consumed by life. They become very spotty, where they're motivated 1 week and they'll do great work and they see some great results. And next thing you know, they go in a management mode and trying to work with those 2 or 3 people. Next thing you know, if those 2 or 3 people kind of slow down, then they slow down and they have to give them a call and get them going again. So it's important that you have some type of systematic system that people can really attack the phone and start building their business. Now, in addition to that, like I said, we have some very strong tools. The introductory email campaign is a must. Stu Mills, he got this email from me when him and I were talking. So introductory email, what we've done is that because we have such strong tools, we have so many of them, it could become kind of confusing what to lead with. So what I've done is I've basically taken some of the ones that, taken some of the ones that are, very, very powerful and put them in what we call an introductory email. Now, that's going to go evolve as well. Although, for example, the Furry Marsh story, Modern Legend, it's one of the most impressive short films you could ever see. But we may want to remove that from the introductory email because it is a long video. And try to keep that initial introductory email to as short as possible. But all in all, it's a very, very strong email. You want to make sure that you go to your back office. It's there. We also launched it on the Forensic Networker Nation Facebook page. If you're not part of that Facebook page, you should be right away. So before you go to bed, every single day, this is every day means not every second day, means every day before you go to sleep, lunchtime, break time, morning, whenever it's good for you, you basically send the introductory email to about 5 people per day. It's not hard to do, it's an email. So you basically take one day, you customize the beginning of the email to what you want to say based on your circle, and then you send out to 5 people a day, and then you do a follow-up on those people. So when you send this out, that particular lead would end up in your DMO box, in your forensic. Again, if you don't have these things, you can actually still get, I think there's like 7 or 8 boxes left still on the Forensic Networker Nation. If you find that posted, click on it, you can still get it. At the end of the day, they become a lead for you, and you follow that with a call. You offer their value proposition, which is basically the VIP, GWT VIP accounts, and you'll basically what your target is making sure that on a regular basis you have a whole bunch of VIPs being added to your list. Not only for retail profits, also these people will eventually become LCs as we communicate with them. So, in addition to your smile and dial, you want to send out the introductory email to at least 5 people a day. What this do will generate so much activity for you, so many leads for you, that you will never run out of leads. Remember we talked about earlier, you want to have a very strong list? This is how you build it. In addition to what you already know, you keep on building through the social media, blast emails, and so forth. Now, I've categorized, for me, I like to break everything down, dissect it, break everything down to as accurate as it could be. Now, I don't believe you can treat everybody the same. So I've broken down the candidates or prospects into basically 4 different categories. And since we're in the designer business, I decided to call the A-list and B-list and C-list and D-list, just like an A-list celebrity or B-list celebrity and so forth. Your A-list is basically your top MLM candidates. People who have actually earned millions in earnings. So those are truly top MLM candidates, A-list. I know that we throw around the word of, I know this MLM leader too often. You'll never hear me say that. If you ever hear me call somebody a leader, you're guaranteed they're the true leader in MLM. Not somebody that talks a lot, not somebody that spent 20 years in MLM, accomplished nothing. No. These people, when I say leader, that means they're truly leaders, understand, get the business, that make money. So the A-list is basically, you talk about your top millionaires. And somebody like Stu Mills, and we have others who've joined us or launched with us last couple of months, and more coming next week. So these are A-lists. I'm talking about, we have A-lists who are joining us soon with $15 million in earnings. Now that's an A-list. 400,000 people in the group. Now that's an A-list. So that's what we call A-list candidates. You can find them. I mean, you go to businessforum.org. Ted has listed the top 5,000 earners. So they're there. Start building like and trust. Send them the introductory email. Start contacting them. What's going on with MLM right now is that, I am so glad that in 2004 when I hit that crossroads, I'm just always been one of those, strange cats that I don't follow the crowd. I always look and see what makes sense, what's logical. I do have a good nose to see where business is going, and thank God, although I came from a health and wellness camp, We're talking about the ex-professional athlete. I am Mr. Nutrition, but I realized that although I like it and I take it, it was not going to make a sound business option. And I was right. Because right now what's going on out there, it is so nasty for health and wellness companies that the companies are so desperate to actually be able to attract people, is that now they're starting to buy people. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, if somebody got bought out, it happened every 5 years, it was a big deal, $1 million deal, and everybody heard about it. Today, every week, people who are not even big MLMers are being flown in, they're being given deals and all the stuff because it is so difficult for other companies because they all have the same type of product and they all have a story. And so how do you stand out when it's 2,000 companies pitching the same thing? But you can't. So what you do is that you bring extra perks or try to buy people for 6 months. And when the 6 months is up, these same people go to the next deal for another deal. Again, they're not getting in because the opportunity is any better. They're getting in because they're getting something extra for 3 to 6 months. So, the point I'm making is that there's a lot of very high quality leads out there right now who are not doing well and looking. So you should be out there and prospecting them. You should be out there sending out introductory email and talking to them. Especially with Global Wealth Trade, all the people who've been launching with us over the last few months, and these are A-list candidates, and they're telling me they've been watching GWT for six years. Another one said 3 years. More and more people are telling us they've been watching us for years, and now they're ready. And I think there's 2 reasons for that. Number one, Global Wealth Trade is a superstar of the industry. And second part of that, I think, is that the competitors are really suffering. They're struggling, very, very difficult. It's very difficult to promote health and wellness or telecom where there's 2,000 plus companies plus 16 million stores and internet and that sell the same stuff. So they're struggling, and I think we're going to be the huge beneficiary of it because our product lines are so different and no one in the world does what we do. So again, get out there and introduce to some of these A-list and B-list. And to me, a B-list is a serious network marketer who has seen some money, and usually these people are full-time MLMers for a long time. They have teams, and they haven't quite hit it out of the park yet, but they've seen $10,000, $20,000 incomes, and they have teams, and they get it, and they're full-time MLMers. Again, lots of these people are shifting around company to company. I've been saying this for years and years. I said the industry is not getting any bigger. It's like Coke and Pepsi. They're trading customers, from one company to the next. And so these people are shifting. You need to put yourself on their map. Now you got the C list and the D list. And I put this script already on the Forensic Networking Nation Facebook page. And it's already also in your back office. These are folks who have basically been, C-list, they've been involved in direct sales part-time or sometime, never made any money really. They like the industry, it's a hope. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel. Never really involved themselves, never really engaged really heavily, but they're there. That's your C-list. And your D-list is people who've never actually even tried MLM. Now, D-list people, it doesn't make them any less valuable. I can tell you right now, we built Global Wealth Trade on D-list. In other words, it's just people who have never had any interest in the industry. So they don't have any experience. In some cases, that is actually better than even an A-list and B-list. Why? They come with no baggage. We can train them the way we have. And we have done that. That's why we have such a strong culture in this company, because we took a whole bunch of D-lists who had no interest in MLM before or have very little interest or very little experience, and we trained them, and now they've become superstars. And if you talk to our top leaders in this company, people like Leor, people like Renee, Sherry, these folks, again, they didn't come because of MLM superstar somewhere else. For most of them, this was even the first company we tried. But look where they are today. So the difference between the C and D versus A and B is that the A and B, because of their experience and because of the time they've invested into direct sales, they have a bit of a paradigm shift that we need to deal with. The C and D don't really have that, but the A and B, they do. So for the A and B, it's a two-stage campaign. first thing you want to do is basically, stage one is send them the 2 advanced videos that we have. The very first one is the 25 reasons why GWT products are the best in MLM to market. That's the first video, 25 reasons why GWT products are the best in MLM to market. Again, your back office have this video, so is our YouTube channel. Global Wealth Trade Corporation is a YouTube channel. It's on there. The second video is the locker room talk, what they don't want you to know video. That's the one that we did with the Blue Ocean team. So those are 2 videos, plus you want to send them the GWT tour. So that's basically for the A and B list. You want to send them those 2 videos, which is not in the script for the C and D. Here's the reason why. If somebody doesn't have a lot of experience, they don't need to know the problems of the industry. We don't need to put this on their map if they don't know it exists. That's why those 2 videos are not there for the C and D. But the A and B have experienced everything I talk about on those videos, and this is really, really important to them. And it's the reason why we're getting a lot of attention now from the A list and B list, because they listen to those videos, they watch my 25 reasons, and although they hate what you're hearing, but they agree to everything you're hearing, and they're coming on board. So A and B, you want to make sure you send them the 2 videos, the 25 reasons and the locker room talk, and the GWT tour. Once you've done that, your follow-up email to the A and B is the same introductory email that you would send to C and D. So the only difference is the C and D only gets introductory email. The A and B get those 3 videos, and then they get the introductory email as a follow-up. Now, one thing I do want to kind of warn you, we struggle a little bit with this, and we don't know if we should put a stop to it or not, but many people are downloading our videos, and they are reposting it on YouTube as a marketing way to market themselves. But I guess the downside to that is that our videos are not getting all the views that they should, because there's like 60 of them out there. Different people are doing it, but which personally I don't really care. But you want to make sure that if you're going to share a video, it's the one that the company loaded, not the one that someone else loaded, because all of a sudden it's another LC that's taken our video, loaded it, and you send it to your prospects, and you want to make sure that there is no confusion. At some point, we may decide, you may get a phone call if you're doing this, that we call YouTube and get everything disabled. So I'm going to make an announcement tonight that do not download our videos and repost it again, reload it. Just basically take our link and use it. And this way we get all the views. Instead of having 6,000, 7,000 views, we'll have 30,000, 40,000 views. And it's good that way for the video rating. At the same time, we don't have a whole bunch of people are doing this, and then the leads get kind of confused. So if you're doing that, and many of you are, soon, you may show up, go on YouTube, and nothing is there, because we may just call YouTube and tell them to disable all of it. You want to make sure that at this point on, go ahead and take it down yourself. Use the one that we have, so we can have everything on the company link as opposed to different people. In any event, again, if you go to the YouTube channel or Global Wealth Trade Corporation, the original link is there. And even when you YouTube it, the ones that we do corporately, it says it was loaded by Global Wealth Trade versus some other name. In any event, so that's basically your marketing campaign. And second part becomes a training and support campaign. Now, leadership is everything, and your culture of your team starts with you. Whether you succeed or not, doesn't matter what type of result you're getting, it comes down to one thing. What type of culture do you have? Do you have a culture of leadership or lack of it? I mean, I don't need to talk about what those things would be. You know if you're a great leader, if you're setting a right example, or if you're not setting a right example. Are you setting up a culture of a massive action or lame activity? Again, simple. Look at your forensic sheet. How many VDMs have you launched over the past 4 weeks? How many prospects have you called? How many dials have you made? How many tours have you done? So again, the culture starts with you, because as we say in forensic, the upside to our business is people will do what you do. The downside to our business is that your people will do what you do. So before you go to bed at night, talk about this all the time, go in front of the mirror when you're brushing your teeth, ask yourself a question. I call it take a personal inventory. And that is, if everybody in my team did exactly what I did today, what type of business would I have? If the answer is not good, you better make some changes. Because most of the time, the culture of your team is pretty much what you started. Do you have a culture of a positive or negative environment? You know, is everything Armageddon for you, whether it's true or not? Or are you very positive, you really get what's going on here, and you're not going to worry about the little ripples in the water? And, you know, every company has it. Every company has it, and we're no different. Occasionally we'll get a drama queen or a drama king, you know, that everything is Armageddon. It doesn't matter that we're number one, A+ business rated company in the world. People will show up, you know. That's just bad habit. If that's you, guess what? It's the best way to self-destruct. Ross Perot said something I love. He says, you know, don't get rid of your negative people. You're too valuable. He says, trade them to your competitors, because nothing destroys an organization more than a negative person. So again, culture of positive or culture of negative? Because if it's negative, that's the best way to self-destruct. Culture of growth or culture of self-destruction? I've seen, again, for the last 25 years, people will come to do some great work, do some great growth, only to allow some self-made grievances. That's not even true. It's just a view of things, slow the whole process to a halt. So again, if you have somebody like that in your My5, upline, or in your team, you want to make sure you deal with that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Do you have a culture of connectivity or isolation? Again, are you on the Tuesday, Sunday culture? Are you on the webinars? Or are you not? Are you on every boot camp? You're just too busy. Are you showing up to the convention that's coming up that's once a year, or you're too busy for that? Hey, listen, you know, if you're not going to make time, you know, a couple of times a week, something as comfortable as being on your laptop with your favorite drink and listen to a training, if you're not going to show up to once a month boot camp, even worse, once a year convention, it costs too much, you're too busy, I don't know, Aunt Matilda has to move out first, or the government needs to change, whatever your excuse is, you're not serious about this. At least don't fool yourself. You know, I'm known to be very tough, and I say the way it is. You know, I heard one time, the dumbest thing I ever heard. One time somebody says, well, you know, I can't come to the boot camp because I just spent $1,500 for my VDM. Listen, the reason why you want to spend your $20 for the boot camp, or the $400 or $300, or actually $200 for your convention, is to protect your $1,500 investment. That's why you should show up, so you know how to do the business. It's not even about the $1,500. It's about your time, your future, it's the next 40 years. So yeah, if you spend $3,000 for a Diamond VDM, you better show up to the convention so you know how to protect it. So it's not, you're not saving any money. Trust me, it's costing you a fortune for not showing up. You want to make sure you have some serious tough talk with your people. You need to take massive action. If you've got a culture of massive action, like for example, a good example is Nigeria. Look, Comfort took massive action with Nigeria. Look at that team. They went ahead and, you know, second country to ever beat Canada next to St. Lucia. They beat Canada last month. Very, very strong month again. This one. So again, it starts with the leader. You take massive action and look at the results when it comes to VDM launches. So remember, you set the culture in your team. If it takes you 24 hours to get started, well, most probably that's the culture in your team. If it takes you 30 days to get started, well, most probably that's the culture in your team. If it takes you, you know, I don't know, 24 hours to go diamond or 6 months to go diamond, that's the culture in your team. Diplomat, ambassador, you set that culture. Speed of the leader is speed of the team. So your MO will set the culture. So start, because, and here's another thing. If you're, by the way, how you start, let me put it this way. How you start is pretty much in tune with the culture you entered. In other words, your enroller. So if your pace is not in line with your enroller, in other words, your enroller is too slow or too busy, or, you know, is consumed by life, well, don't follow them. Go up to my 5 as high as you can. Find somebody in your my 5 that's working their business at a pace that you want to run yours. In other words, don't follow your enroller if their pace doesn't meet the pace that you want to be. So, because anytime you launch, you're falling in a culture. Hopefully, that's a great culture because we have some teams blowing it up here in Global Wealth Trade. Hopefully, that's the culture. But if you happen to end up, and it can happen in a team that, they're kind of sometimers and kind of just happy to be here, to love the product, it can happen. Vast majority of our people will renew their membership. They will renew it just because they absolutely want to have access to the world's #1 designer brand. And that is wonderful. There's nothing wrong with that. And if that's you, great, you're in the right place. But if your target is to go ahead and become an RA, get your RA pin in 6 months, and your enroller has a different pace, well, go up and start working with some of the My 5s who have the same type of pace that you want to be on. Next thing I want to talk about is some things you watch out for. For example, abandon ego. How about that one? Being an MLM, we see this happen all the time. Because in order for you to have a long-term success, you really have to have controlled ego. Look, I have the world's largest ego. Most of you know that. The difference is it's controlled. Because one thing I know, ego will make you, and ego will also break you. One thing is really important to understand, and I learned that very quickly in my career. Success is driven by you, but it's not caused by you. Don't forget that. Never forget the vehicle that gave us the opportunity to excel. Now, I have a chapter called the Forensic Upline chapter. You want to get a hold of that, you can order that online. It's like $5 or $6. I'll tell you, that is one chapter that I personally listened to it. It's me. I wrote it 20 years ago. I listened to it 5-6 days in a row because the points it covers, just like the 25 reasons why, the points it covers is something you come across every single day. Forensic Upline chapter. It's one CD, one chapter. You want to go online and order that. It's $5 or $6, and make sure you listen to it every single day. If you're traveling with your team, make sure that's in your CD player. So remember, success is driven by you. It's not caused by you. So let's not have our ego grow to a point that thinking that we don't have to follow anything. We don't need to follow the system. We can create our own rules. All that will do is create confusion, and or even worse, it gets you in trouble with the company. This company has a very solid foundation, and we work with every single one of our LLCs. We go way beyond the call of duty, but at the same time, we're very, very strong on ethics, very, very strong on protecting the culture, the great culture that we have. So if you do have a team, talk about this earlier, if you do have a team player that's a sunblock, whether that's your upline or in your team, utilize your My5 to neutralize it. And if that doesn't work, isolate it. Again, I wrote about this in my Forensic Upline chapter, and it's also in audio format in the Forensic Networker book. We're an annual company now, so when you come enter this, we have some very strong attributes. We know what we're doing. We're open to listen. We always want to improve. But when it comes down to knowing what we're doing, just take a look at the retention activity ED ratio. We have numbers in the industry you couldn't even dream of. So when you come in, let's look at the IBM principle. IBM spend hundreds of millions of dollars in research. They are the benchmark for every other Fortune 500 company. Pretty much everything everybody does because IBM created it. One of the things that they came up with is that they call what they call a one-year file. And here's how it works. Say IBM hires this hotshot executive from Xerox. And this hotshot executive is really good at what they're doing. But the hotshot executive will come in for tens of millions of dollars, but first thing he has to do is that they go through what's called a one-year file. In other words, IBM will tell them everything goes on a bench for a year until you master what we do. Once you master what IBM does, then you're going to bring your own personality, ideas to the table. Same thing goes here. And I think there's a reason for that. I always use this analogy. Just because you're a good eye doctor doesn't make you a good foot doctor. You're still a doctor, but it is a completely different plan. So we want you to come in, master what we do, and then add your flavor to it, and that would be wonderful. If you don't do that, if you try to come in and change the system or reinvent the wheel, what will happen is the minute you deviate from the system, confusion will set in your team because now there's multiple systems being taught. And the minute the confusion sets in, automatically inactivity starts. So when people are confused, they just stop working, stop moving. It's just like you. If you're driving and you don't know where you're going and you come into a, stop where you can only turn right or left, you just stop and think, which way do I go? And so write this down. The minute confusion sets in your team, inactivity starts. It's good to add to the existing system. I'm not against that. But if you want to come in and change the existing system, you're going to have a problem. Many have tried. Believe me, you're going to have a problem. So be very careful with that. So if you're out there because you're a little impatient and you want to go things to go a little faster, and again, be very careful who you listen to. In my forensicnetworker.com page, if you've been to that page, I'm very, very, very tough on the so-called top 1% millionaires of the industry, let alone the average person. I basically say 99.6% of the workforce are uneducated, unskilled in this direct sales industry. My friend Mark Yarnell, he says it in a funny way. He says, Ramin, it's a funny industry, The guy can go and fail in 10 deals, write a book, and he's still an expert. So, be careful. There's a lot of people out there promoting a lot of things. I would have to say about 99% of them never accomplish anything in MLM. So they're just out there selling leads or selling whatever. So we have the system here. We have the most advanced system forensic, and I know it's not accessible to all of you. I get that, and believe me, there's a reason for that. But after this convention, it will be accessible to all of you. Not only be accessible, it will become a culture for all of you. You hear all this thing about forensic is all the people who attended the seminars previously. It's only once a year seminar, and they attended it, and it's a type of course that once you're there, it's in your DNA. It's not like any other course. It changes the perspective of how the business should be done. So again, at the convention, Friday night, it's all day. It's like a 10-hour intensive, jam-packed seminar. So you want to make sure that you're there. Then the next topic I want to talk about is promote. Remember, you're in a promoting business. You're not in a selling business. You're in a promoting business. You're promoting basically three things. Number one, you're promoting your products. Number of ways of doing that. You want to promote. You use your promotional materials to do that. We got some fantastic, materials for that, like the lookbook and so forth. You got your branding parties, again, which you should be thinking about that from the week that you launch. You should be thinking about that. The next 30 days action plan on Tuesday, don't miss that because we will be talking a lot about that. Make sure that Tuesday nights, the next 30 days action plan is an absolute must for you and your brand new people. You can promote your products through internet. Obviously, we've got probably the world's nicest website, and it's loaded with shopping carts, multi-currency. I mean, it's an amazing website, pro technology. So you're out there promoting your products. Secondly, you're promoting is launching VDMs. The best way to do that is Glamour packs. Again, all of these samples of these are all in your initial package that you receive. It doesn't even matter if you're a retailer, you get a Glamour pack in it. Introductory email is a great way for internationally to promote your launching malls worldwide. And the third thing you want to promote is the next events. Which is webinars, live tours, monthly boot camps, regional super Saturdays, of course, the annual convention. So you're basically out there promoting three things: products, the business side, the VDMs, launching VDMs, and next event, whether that's the next webinar, Tuesday, Sunday, live tours happening, if it's happening in your city, the monthly boot camps, absolute must. People, when they show up to the boot camp, they get clarity. It's like the fog clears. They understand what they got to do. Regional Super Saturdays is always a must because if it's a Super Saturday, that means it's either the corporate or somebody. It's something different on the boot camp. We cover things that we've never covered before. Sometimes we launch things on the Super Saturdays. The news comes out. Of course, the annual convention, what a party. I mean, not only we do our annual release, product releases there, fashion show, 1,000 people, the media from all over the place. The media platform is so jammed that they can't, we always have the biggest media platform. This thing is like 20 feet long, and people park all around the runway because there's just no room there. It's always sold out. So again, but you know, outside the training, because the training is just tremendous. Of course, a forensic networker training is there. But boy, I'm telling you, the awards, the camaraderie, you know, when somebody gets an award, we had Josephine and Chris Gross from Networking Times. They're flying every year. They said, Ramin, we don't see we go to every convention, every company you can imagine. Conventions far bigger than yours. I'm talking 10,000 people. But we never saw the camaraderie when somebody gets an award, how excited the whole company gets, and people stand up, they walk from the tables all to the front taking pictures, and again, and of course after parties. I mean, outside the cake and the furry marsh give away $10,000, and they're dancing to 2 in the morning, and after parties, different streets. It's just an unforgettable event. You just can't miss it. Just so you know, we still have a couple of months left to the convention, but it's already 68% sold out. It's limited seating. So, and this is going to go in no time. So you want to make sure that you register now. Now, one thing we are going to do is that, as you know, the early bird finished. So now the price has gone up. And it may go up again, by the way. So we haven't decided on that yet. But right now the price has gone up. But with the new people who launch, they never had the opportunity for the early bird. So what we always do is that when you launch somebody, we want to make sure that we give them 7 days. From the time that they launch, they got 7 days to actually register for the convention, and they get it at the original early bird pricing, which is a $50 less for single and $100 less for double. So when you launch somebody, make sure that they know they got 7 days to register for convention and get it at the earlier pricing, because if you don't tell them that, when they find out late, they'll be upset at you. We want to make sure everybody gets this equal opportunity. No member left behind. Remember, so if somebody even launches a week before, 2 weeks before convention, and we'll still give them 7 days if there are seats available. We'll give them 7 days to get it at the original early bird pricing because they never had the opportunity. So we want to make sure that since the early bird is over, whoever launched since then, that they only have 7 days to actually register for the convention at the original early bird pricing. So make sure that if you haven't told them, that you get on the phone and you tell them. Lastly, to finish with, it's up to me. We're the most international business on the planet. 86 countries. We're the fastest expanding company in the history of direct sales. No other companies expanded what we have, mainly because we're an internet-based business. Our products are visual. And of course, we have the technology to do it. And products doesn't require approval in any country in the world. Right now, when you go to our website, there's multiple languages there. There's English, there is Chinese, there's Spanish, there's Polish, and so forth. And it's loaded there. If you want the language for native language for a particular country, then what you can do is that go ahead, don't wait for anyone else, go ahead and start translating the front end and the back end of the website and get it rechecked by someone else, make sure it's accurate, send it to us, and what we'll do, because we have state-of-the-art technology, our IT team, within a very short time, can launch a website for your language. So all you got to do is just basically go ahead and translate it. I mean, the front end is only about 5 pages anyway. It's not a lot to translate. And the back end is just a few words, order, back office, those things. We're not talking about trainings. We're talking about just the website itself. So if you want to go ahead and get that translated, like the Spanish, for example, in Florida, what they did is that they went to the front and the back, they translated everything, they sent us the material. I sent to our IT team. IT launched the Spanish website. So the Spanish countries, Latino countries can now have that. Same goes with videos. We have English videos, whether it's the comp plan videos or whether it's the tour. Occasionally the speakers will change. We have the same thing done. And the latest ones are done by Renee and Lior. We have the same thing done in Polish, done by Anna and the Polish team. We had a Chinese material done from Sherry Zhao's team, Chris and Alice. Last week we had a bunch of Latino videos got done, and it was done by Abdulia and Ricardo. They got together, all the Abdulias from California, Ricardo's from Toronto. They put together a Latino committee. They planned it out. They really got prepared, and Abdul flew in, and all week long they were doing videos. I know that Marshall is coming down with his team to do the same thing, Vietnamese. More stuff is coming out. I know the Russian videos are coming out. Leroy's doing that, so forth. So, we do have, again, part of many things. We have state-of-the-art studio in our world headquarters. Part of the support, again, that we offer. No other company does this, by the way. But if you wanted to go ahead and say, look, those videos are wonderful, and I want to do it, say, in Filipino language, and you can prove to us that you're a proficient speaker, you know your stuff well, then we can arrange it, to actually for you to come in and go ahead and record those videos. And how we can do it is simple too, because all you have to look at the English one, write it down, script it, translate it, practice it, and you can do the same, because the PowerPoint is the same for every language. It's just numbers anyways. So in any event, we have a studio in place, we have all the equipment, we have all the staff. If you wanted to do that, to reach up to me, make sure you're prepared, make sure your scripts are accurate, and put a submission in a request, and we'll arrange it based on our schedule for you to come in and record it. And now you're face of the company for that language. So it's quite an honor and privilege to be able to do that. But again, you have to be a great presenter, and we'll check with your circle to make sure that that is the case. All right, so we talked about that. Soon we will be announcing, this is important, soon we will be announcing international webinars to match different type of time zones. So what you see here Tuesday, Sunday, we talk about having a Tuesday, Sunday culture, that every Tuesday, every Sunday that you're on. I understand, because we're such a global business, some of the time zones don't match up, so we've talked to our LCG group. Soon we'll announce same webinars, Tuesday, Sunday, but in different time zones, so it would match the time zones a bit better. So as usual, lots and lots and lots going on as we surge towards the billion, and our official date for the billion is May 5th, 2016. That's our official target date that we must meet. So that's all I wanted to say. Look, we can have these lockdown talks for days and days and days, and like I said, when you got so much in you, and you really have to sit down and say, what do I want to talk about, and pick and choose. So we were all over the map tonight, and something that I thought that I just want to share with you. And but at the convention, you're going to see some fantastic training and the forensic. If you want to get the forensic, you want to make sure you'll be at the convention. At this point, I know there is some more announcement that Sean Singh wants to make. My time is up. I want to thank you for yours. I look forward to meeting all of you at the convention in a couple of months. So, Sean Singh, back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Ramin, and you know what, wow. I love the locker room talks with you, my friend. It's absolutely amazing, and you know what, it's been an hour. It feels like it's been 15 minutes. I know, like myself and everybody on the call, one of the most jam-packed calls we've ever had here. We could just go on and on. It's such a wealth of information you share with us each and every time, Ramin. Again, thank you very much, sir, number one, for putting this plan together. And, of course, for doing this call for us tonight. And you know what, really just mentoring us every step of the way. And at this point, the comments are already flooding in here. You know what, if the comments start coming in any quicker, it's probably going to crash the entire webinar system. But, Ramin, I can tell you right now, just quickly glancing through as the comments are coming in, it's a consensus. Again, everyone thanking you from the bottom of their hearts for this. And, again, thank you for the wealth of knowledge you share with us each and every time. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, our CEO and founder, you know what, not all that accessible. You know, we're very happy to have him here on the call, but you know what, we're going to share a few different events with you coming up in your local and regions coming up very soon, where you'll be able to meet this man in person if you haven't already. And if you're an LC that's had the pleasure before, you know what, you may just be able to pick this gentleman's mind a little bit with some of the events coming up. We'll be sharing those with you folks in just a second here. But first things first, a little bit of announcement here, upcoming events. This coming Tuesday, The Fast Out webinar will be done by, of course, our very own CEO and founder, Mr. Ramin Mesgarlou, completely updated. This is the brand new Phase 3 launchpad in the next 30 days, which we'll have the pleasure of listening to our CEO take us through it. And as I said, if you've ever had the dream or the idea or the target to become financially free or to make $1 million, you know what, this is the gentleman to listen to every step of the way, and he's going to be taking us through the launchpad and the next 30 days, the clear instructions, the clear path, the GPS to get us to where we want to be. So this is this coming Tuesday, again creating that Sunday, Tuesday culture, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure everybody knows about this here. Let's jam-pack the lines up on Tuesday. It is going to be an epic call. As we move forward, of course, we do have some upcoming events, some power tours, and some big celebrations coming up as well. Here, as you can see, we have our second national ambassador, our second millionaire of the company, Mr. Rene Liel. He is going on tour. He's heading out west Canada. So from April 10th to April 13th, you folks can see there. These have also been posted in the calendar as well, and they're in the blast emails. So you can see where the tours and where the boot camps will be taking place, different cities, different days. But of course, you know what, when Rene Liel's in town, you definitely want to take this gentleman aside, take him out for dinner, take him out for drinks, so you get to pick this gentleman's mind as well. The number 2 millionaire in the company, you know what, took him 4 years to make $1 million. Incredible, incredible, incredible. And of course, you know what, he's also driving around his brand new loaded M5, their BMW M5. So again, definitely get this gentleman in your hands there, take him out for a drink, take him out for some dinner so you can pick this gentleman's mind one-on-one. Now, of course, as we keep rolling, different events happening all across the globe, and of course, we do have the gentleman you were just listening to, the gentleman that you guys are thanking and commenting so much on the webinar system here. He will be live and present in Montreal for the Power Tour and Boot Camp on Friday, April 11th, a massive Power Tour in English and French. It will be standing room only, ladies and gentlemen, so make sure you folks get there early. And of course, you know what, you can join our CEO as well. The perfect time to have a conversation with this gentleman, introduce your prospects to the founder of the Global Wealth Trade Opportunity. And of course, he will be sticking around for the boot camp as well. In fact, some time will be reserved at the very end of the boot camp where, who knows, maybe we'll get a kind of a private boot camp locker room talk from this gentleman as well. And of course, it will all be translated. Tickets can be found online in the GWT promo sites in the back office. Moving forward, again, as we expand across the globe, here we have our regional ambassador, Mr. Sean Haynes, heading back to the Caribbean here. April 19th, you can see there will be a boot camp. There will be a power tour as well. And of course, April 22nd, there will be a power tour. Another one, this now in Grenada. So of course, the Grenada power tours and boot camps, and this was actually sent out in the blast email as well, ladies and gentlemen, from the corporate team. As you can see here, you know what, you can save this image, you can print it out, make photocopies of it. I love this. You know, just in the blast email itself, you can put invited by with the phone number right there as well, so you can make photocopies of these, use them as your invitation at the same time. But again, so shout out to Grenada, ladies and gentlemen. You have your power tours and boot camps coming. You have one of the best when it comes to international expansion. Mr. Sean Haynes is going to be there as well. So you know what? I can honestly say, as one of my uplines, you definitely want to use and abuse him while you have him there. And of course, more events coming up. I know, of course, Sean Haynes will be leaving Grenada to come straight to St. Martin. I know our National Ambassador, Ramin Mesgarlou, will be there as well. In fact, I'm very looking forward to this, joining Ramin and Sanaz, our VP of Product Development and our CEO and founder, the Expansion Celebration Strategy Summit in St. Martin, April 24th and 25th, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? It is the most significant development for the GWT Caribbean market ever. It is a do-not-miss event. And I know there's people already sending in to Agnes, the office manager over there. They're sending in basically their RSVPs from all across the Caribbean. This is truly, it's going to be like a Caribbean summit, kind of like the G7, G8, the G20. This is going to be like the G20 of the Caribbean getting together for the regional office launch. So very exciting to meet all the leaders across all the different islands for this unbelievable expansion celebration. And of course, you know what, we've always said here in Global Wealth Trade, we work hard and of course we party hard. Ladies and gentlemen, headquarters, the GWT World Headquarters Expansion Party. This will be taking place on Friday, May 2nd. Of course, it is a black tie event starting at 8 p.m. And of course, you know what, we all know the address for the World Headquarters there. And again, Attendance, as you can see here, must be 18 and over, so adults only, please. You want to RSVP to sarah@gwtcorp.com. That's the only way you can really get your entrance to this party. And of course, as we know here, there's always a reward for our party. So the top fairy bling prize will be $1,000 again. This is going to be absolutely epic. I know there's going to be people coming from Ottawa, people from Montreal, people from the United States, just for this party at the same time. And as we go forward, the biggest event, the biggest training, the biggest knowledge gaining, the biggest party you can have here is our 8th annual convention, ladies and gentlemen, from June 5th to June 8th, of course, at the Hilton Toronto Airport Hotel and Suites. As the CEO mentioned, you know what, it's already almost 70% sold out, 68% sold out. You know what, make sure you're on the horns there, get everybody out to your convention. If you have a brand new LC launching their business, you know what, make sure they get their convention ticket right off the bat. This is the once-a-year event that is a do not miss. For all the folks that have attended before, you know what, we always have a tough time describing what type of event this is, for the simple fact you have to be there to experience it. The knowledge you're going to gain and the energy you get from an event like this, you have to get it in person, and it's impossible to transfer it to somebody else. It's impossible to, you know, describe what the convention is or describe the trainings or the product launches, you know, to an LC who happen not to be there. So make sure, ladies and gentlemen, the tickets are on sale on the promo site. Head on in there, get your tickets ASAP. If you launch a brand new VDM, make sure that person knows they have 7 days to get their tickets at the early bird pricing. And you know what? Let's make this, again, it will be the most epic event this year. We always wonder, how do they beat this? From last year's, we were all wondering, how are they going to top this? The year before, we were wondering, how are they going to top this one? And they do it every single time. So at this event, prepare to be blown away. And of course, we will have our CEO and founder taking us through the actual forensic networker training, an idea of what you heard tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but the very next level. You know, the author of the forensic networker, he'll show you how to go from 0 to the 10K club within 6 to 18 months with a proven system. And award ceremony, the gala, again, it is a do not miss event, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? We're going to end it with that one right over here, the convention. And again, I know there's a lot of people. There's no questions here tonight, of course, but there are a ton of comments. Again, Ramin, it seems like every single person here, just very grateful for having you on the call here tonight. So again, thank you very much once again to our CEO and founder, taking time out of his busy schedule to be on this call tonight. And for every one of you folks out here listening to the call tonight, ladies and gentlemen, remember to keep that Sunday, Tuesday culture going on. So we have, of course, the French next 30 days, and Launchpad will be tomorrow night at 9:15 p.m. Our CEO and President, Ramin Mesgarlou, will be conducting the English next 30 days on Tuesday. So make sure we're all tuned in for that one there. Until next Sunday night, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the global wealth trade world, have yourselves a wonderful evening, a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon, and have yourselves a great business building week. Signing off from the Ottawa office, have yourselves a wonderful day.